Good evening, all of you. This is the first function of this nature in the Vice-President Enclave. Things onwards would look up. Shri R. Venkatramani ji, Attorney General of India, Mrs. R. Venkatramani ji, Shri Sunil Kumar Gupta, Secretary to the Vice President of India, Professor Yogesh Singh, Vice Chancellor, Delhi University. I must recognize presence of some of you here. I have known them for long, drawn inspiration in several ways. Senior Advocate Shri C.S. Vaidyanathan ji, Dashanand Gordon, Professor Raman Mittal, Srimati Seema Singh, and very distinguished audience. Things are defined not by statistical presence, they are defined by qualitative and deeply interested presence. I see this audience before me. It is a delightful moment, sharing dais with the distinguished people present here. I was part of releasing the book Law and Spirituality, Reconnecting the Bond by Professor Raman Mittal and Seema Singh. The subject is difficult. The subject is complex. In some sense, the subject is abstract. I have had the good fortune to go through some of the articles penned by people for whom I have enormous respect. I can say without exception that every contributor deserves applause for having engaged in his contribution with heart and soul in the article. And therefore, a matter of joy and privilege to be with you all on this great occasion. The book title, Law and Spirituality, Reconnecting the Bond, says it all. Bharat, home to 1/6 of humanity, is a spiritual center of the world. This is acknowledged reality. Our 5,000 years civilizational ethos reveal it in every sense. And this was carried to the globe in more meaningful manner in these contemporaneous times by our G20 presidency. The world had the occasion to be exposed to the spirituality of this great nation when at about 60 locations G20 functions were held in every state and union territory of this country. And the main functions, Bharat Mandapam, G20 main function, and GP, P20 at Yashobhumi. In such a situation, it is time for us to reflect how we sustain our age-old legacy. It's a legacy hard-earned through several mechanisms. I had the good fortune to find out from honorable members of parliament as to how many of us have physically seen our Vedas, our Upanishads, our Puranas. We talk about them day in and day out. But have we really got into the depth of it? And I therefore made a suggestion to the Honorable Minister to make available to every parliamentarian Vedas. Trust me, having Vedas by your bedside will do a lot good to humanity, because the human being that will touch the Vedas will speak out of his soul, not out of his mind and heart. When you speak out of mind, you are dominated by rationality. When you speak out of heart, you are dominated by emotive aspect also. But when there is soul convergence, things are very different. Friends, Bharat, with civilizational depth of 5,000 years, has continually disseminated the message of Dharma and to the entire world and spiritualism through its timeless scriptures, philosophical treatises, and cultural practices. If you look the same in historical perspective, you will find no other civilization or country coming close to us. Law, if I look at what it means, it broadly indicates a regime that defines what people may do or people may not do. Adherence to rule of law is nectar of democracy. There have been regimes where adherence to rule of law has been far more effective and forcible than democracy. But a sense of democracy, nectar of democracy lies because the rule of law is deeply embedded with the concept of equality before law. A democracy would have no meaning at all if there is not equality before law. I have seen, as you all must have seen, a transformative change in last few years that has strengthened the concept of equality before law, ensuring all are subject to law. None is above law. Everyone is amenable to law, accountable to law. You cannot get away from law. There was a time when some thought they were beyond the reach of law. If in a society someone can get away by benefiting after engaging in transgression of law, he is a sole beneficiary, but the entire society suffers. In a democracy, we get that jump of the heartbeat, that excruciating pain, that how come someone is more entitled than I am? Because that is equality before law. That change we have seen. One direct outcome of equality before law is that iniquities are contained. No one will have grievance if all are treated equal. Grievance emanates when we engage in favoritism. We believe in a mechanism that is antithetical to merit. That kind of mechanism. Therefore, rule of law is fundamental to democratic rights, flourishing of humanity, and I would say survival of democracy. Friends, it is soothing to note, and we feel it day in and day out, that privileged pedigree has been compulsively made to be accountable to rule of law. We are seeing it. There is bound to be resistance to it. Because when people are used to be treated very differently, when they are assured by upbringing or otherwise that they have some kind of immunity from law, they are away from struggle of law, and when they find rule of law coming so close to them, making them accountable in a normal process, we must all remember fundamentally that when law takes its course, it is duty of the society to ensure that we take recourse to legal remedies. Unfortunately, when legal process is set in motion, I do not understand why people should take to streets. Because a fundamental of democracy against which rule of law is its fair administration. And the fair administration emanates from robust judicial system. We can pride in our judiciary, how quickly it responds to citizen-centric issues. No country can claim that kind of robust judicial mechanism as we have in this country. Fast, expeditious, and fearless. Look at any period of time, every month, you will find there will be judgments. They may not be palatable to one or the other. They may not be palatable to the category that is in power. But the judgments are coming. And therefore, when you have such an ecosystem, wholesome ecosystem, where redressal mechanism is so effective, independent, we must not take to streets. But this big change that has come in last few years has made our democracy more vibrant. It has become growth-oriented. There is recognition all over the world. And this has generated an upbeat mood in the nation, in our impressionable young minds. They are now filled with hope and possibility environment that is low. Spirituality, the another facet, which appears to begin with very abstract. If you scratch the surface, you will not be able to grapple with spirituality. I had the good fortune to attend a global spiritual conference at Hyderabad. And I was amazed. Scholars came from all over the world. And they made Mr. Kamlesh Patel global ambassador in this direction. The honor was conferred by Secretary General of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The 3-day conference was an eye-opener, enlightening, making people aware that yes, this country is not only a democratic nation, is structured at all levels, from village to the state to the center, but also a spiritual land. Spiritual connotes a deep feeling, belief that self is subservient to being human. In our reckless urge, in pursuit of materialism, we forget concern of others. We engage in reckless exploitation of natural resources. We use natural resources because we have fiduciary capacity to do it. We are not trustees of natural resources when we act that way, but we are trustees. And therefore I would say that if you think beyond yourself, you think about everyone else, you think about living beings on the planet, you are spiritual in thought and action. Spirituality reflects deep, sublime concern for others and welfare of all. And that has been our civilizational ethos. Our G20 presidency motto, one earth, one family, one future, as a matter of fact, is a sense of spiritualism. Spirituality guides us to discover that our lives are significant, our lives are relevant beyond ordinary existence, personal concerns and selfishness. Most of us are tied by these vices. We learn too late, after having negotiated precious time, that we need to be in the other mode. Spirituality will instill in us happiness for all, growth of all, concern of all. Friends, the combination of law and spirituality, the theme of the book, Reconnecting the Bond, is thus a concept that can take us towards utopian governance, global peace and harmony, A combination of the two would unfold: a legal regime, a way of life, a method of living and governance that would be non-invasive and wholesome for humanity. The effort by Professor Raman Mitra and Professor Seema Singh in bringing out this book, Law and Spirituality, Reconnecting the Bond, is indeed commendable. The contributors have been drawn from various facets of human activity. I would say virtually in every aspect of human activity, from governance and constitutionalism, from law and justice, from spirituality and ethics, and the like. The book traverses critical aspects in relation to the theme, law and spirituality, covering the domain of justice, legal values, feminism, and criminology. After having read parts of some of the articles, I can tell you it's a treasure. You will be exposed to the erudition and expertise, knowledge of the author that has been well crafted in minimum words. The book deserves, friends, to be on your bedside and bedside of everyone, as going through it would be enriching experience and would lead to enlightenment of the individual, inspiring and motivating the reader to be in pursuit of service for humanity. I congratulate the editors, the contributors for this excellent effort and for effecting convergence of knowledge and talent of people from varied areas of human activity. Friends, I could have said more, but after having gone through some of the articles and parts of some of the articles, I beseech every one of you, keep the book by your bedside. Make it a habit to go through it. Once you will go through it, trust me, there will be seamless gliding through the entire book at one point of time or the other, and you will benefit enormously. I am grateful to the audience for being patient, for the time I have taken. Thank you.